Welcome to Taste of Wellness. I'm Claudia, your host. Today we're going to teach you healthy, simple, delicious recipes. Today's recipe is cheesy sauce for zucchini noodles. And this is actually a dairy-free, so there is no cheese in this, but I'm going to tell you the secrets of how to make it taste like there is. So what we're going to start off with is cashews. In the raw food world, cashews are chosen mostly for recipes like cheesecake, anything that wants to have a nice, creamy, full texture. So that's where we're going to use cashews. They're packed full of energy and vitamins, and they are really creamy and delicious. So we're going to use 2 cups of cashews. I already have a cup in here, and we're going to add to this a second cup of cashews. The next thing that we're going to use is we're going to use fresh basil. This basil smells delicious. This is kind of going to be a cross between a Alfredo sauce and a pesto sauce. So we're going to just throw in fresh basil. This is 3 teaspoons of fresh basil, but if you're a really big basil fan, go ahead and add a few more in there. There's no rules in cooking. Just do what makes you happy. Okay? The next thing that we're going to use is fresh squeezed lemon. A tip for your lemon is if you take a fresh squeezed lemon and you roll it on the counter before you juice it, it will actually get the juices flowing for you so you get more juice out of your lemon. So we're just going to give this a quick stir. And this is a 1/4 cup. We're going to go ahead and pour that right in. Now, there is 2 different types of salt that you can use. You can use Celtic sea salt, which as you can see is grayer in texture and it's very, very moist. And Celtic salt or Celtic salt, depending upon where you're located, is full of minerals and it's directly out of the sea. Now Himalayan salt, as you can see, has a little bit more pink texture to it. And it's from the Himalayas. And this has actually higher sodium than Celtic salt. So in this recipe, I chose to use our Celtic salt. So I'm putting 1½ teaspoons directly in. Now, it doesn't matter whether you go Celtic or Himalayan, it's still better than the white table salt that you would find in most homes. It has more nutritional value, has trace minerals in it that our body doesn't have. So either way, can't go wrong. Just pick which one you like better, which tastes better to you. The next thing that we're going to do is use extra virgin olive oil. You want first pressed, and you want it to be cold pressed, nothing processed. And we're going to use 1/8 cup. We're going to pour that right in. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is use amino acids. Amino acids is a replacement for soy sauce. This can be salty in content, so you don't want to put too much salt in on the other end. And if you are trying to avoid soys altogether, then what you can do is use coconut amino acids. Now, I found this out the hard way the first time that I bought coconut amino acids. They actually it's carbonated, so if you shake it up, it will explode. So you've been warned now. Don't make the same mistake I made. And what we're going to do is we're going to use 3 teaspoons of this. Now, when we blend this up and you're going to taste this, it's going to taste a little salty to you at first. But don't worry about that, because when you add the noodles to it, it brings balance to the dish. So what might taste over salty at first won't once you add the noodles to it, which we're going to show you in a little bit. So it's 3 teaspoons of that. Next thing that we're going to add is our nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast is cultured yeast that's been dried for storage. It is not active. A lot of people, that's a misconception. They think it's an active yeast. It's not. And this is the key secret ingredient. This is what gives us the cheesy taste to the sauce. So we get the creaminess from the cashews, and we're going to get the cheesiness from the nutritional yeast. And what we're going to do here is we're going to use 3 tablespoons. So just go ahead, add those right in, and you can smell it. I use this in soups and I make salad dressings out of it. By itself, it has a little bit of a bitter taste, so you definitely want to add it to something else. You can use it on popcorn. You can do some air pop popcorn and put it on that. And like I said, one of my favorite dressings actually uses nutritional yeast. Next thing we're going to do is we're just going to add a little pepper to the party here. And you can add if I can do it the right way. Apparently I need an education to use the pepper shaker here. So what you're gonna do is you can add as much, little or as much pepper as you want. It's all based on your taste. I like things spicy, so I'm gonna kick it up a few notches here. And the next thing we're gonna use is purified water. It's really important. You wanna make sure we use all of our ingredients here that we use on our show is organic. When you can, if you can, use organic. We recommend that. And our water is distilled or purified. So we're gonna go ahead and add that in. You wanna add in a half a cup to a cup. In this case, I'm gonna go ahead and add almost a whole cup to it. And the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna add 2 cloves of garlic. Now, if you have a garlic press, that's great. You can go ahead and use a garlic press. We don't need to mince it up because it's gonna go straight into the blender. So what I like to do, when I first learned this trick, I was putting way too much muscle into this, and I was splatting my garlic everywhere. You don't really need to do that. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your chef knife, and you're gonna take your garlic with its skin on and all. You're just gonna place it down. You're gonna take the back end of your knife right here. You want the blade to be away from you for safety reasons. And you're just gonna give it a light tap. Not too hard. You don't wanna crush the garlic. Otherwise you can use a garlic press for that if you prefer to. And the skin comes right off. There you go. Just throw it in. We're gonna put 2 cloves of garlic into our cheesy sauce. And now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna give this a quick blend. And you want it to be the consistency. You can make this whatever consistency you would like. If it's too thick, just go ahead and add a little water to it. So that smells delicious. I can't wait to eat this. Oh, goodness gracious. What we're gonna do next is make our zucchini noodles. So there's a couple of ways that you can make zucchini noodles. The first way is you can get a spirula, and this is a little higher end product, but what you would do is you would put the zucchini in here, press it, and give it a quick turn. And then the noodles will come out the other side. Now, when the noodles come out, I'm gonna show you this. They have to be cut because they come out in they get long, they have to be cut. So you just want to cut them before you eat them. And if you don't have a fancy spiralizer, you can pick one of these up in your local stores. And this is another form of a spiralizer. You just put your zucchini in this end and then give it a turn. And as you can see, it's coming out like spaghetti. Now, if you'd like it to look more like spaghetti, what you want to do is remove the peel from the zucchini. However, if it's organic, you want to use the peel because all the nutrients are in the skin. Well, a lot of them, not all of them. So go ahead and cut these up. Now, if you're a raw foodist, this is where you stop. You would take the zucchini and you would put the cheesy sauce over it and you would enjoy a meal. However, if you prefer warm food, what I do is I take a skillet, add a little olive oil to it, just a little bit, maybe even a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon, and I saute the zucchini really quickly. It heats it up, and then when I pour the cheese sauce over it, it heats up the cheese sauce as well. If you don't like zucchini and you like an alternative, you can use spaghetti squash. Now, spaghetti squash, the trick to spaghetti squash, a lot of people don't like using spaghetti squash because it's hard to get into. So you can actually cook it in a slow cooker and then cut it open, de-seed it, and then with a fork, you're just gonna gently scrape it out, and it looks exactly like this, except for it's zucchini, it's this spaghetti squash instead. If you're gonna do spaghetti squash, one of the tricks is to put the knife in and then to pull it down. And you always want to work with the knife away from you. And you just continue to work around. You see? And you pull the knife away from you. And then it will open up for me. And then what you want to do is just scrape out the seeds And you want to put it in a baking sheet with a little bit of water in it at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes. When you can stick a fork through the shell completely, that's when it's done. If you overcook it, it will get mushy. So you want to make it al dente just like you would with pasta. And then serve the cheesy sauce over that. So you have two options, gluten-free, vegetables. You can do it raw or cooked, and bon appetit. So here's our zucchini noodles plated up. I went raw with this option. And what we're gonna do now is look at this sauce. Look how beautiful that is. Can you see the pieces of basil in there and the garlic, and the aroma is just to die for. And I'm gonna go ahead and drizzle it over the top. And if you wanted it a little thinner, then just add a little bit more water. If you want it a little thicker for your liking, add a little less water. You're totally in control here. And it just smells. I wish you could smell this. I'm actually kind of sad for you that you can't smell this because it's that good. This is totally healthy-licious. Let's take a bite here and see how it is. I'm going to apologize in advance for this because I'm going to get to eat this and you're not right now anyhow, but hopefully you will. The cashews give it a really good creaminess, and the basil gives it a little tang, and the garlic adds a little zing to it. To get your copy of this delicious recipe, please visit our website at worldwellnesseducation.org. My name is Claudia. Until we see you again, get healthier one recipe at a time.